Hello, I'm Mary St. George, and I'm going to talk about a book of watercolors that I've just made. The book is right here, and I just want to explain a little bit about myself. A friend of mine, an artist friend of mine, suggested that I make a book of watercolors, and so therefore this journey began. During this time, it seemed really appropriate to not just paint the watercolors and make a book, but actually to collaborate with a Portuguese poet who I met, who made texts and looked at my artwork and was inspired to make some texts, which are basically generic, so they're not for specific artworks, but they fit into the book in groupings. And I took those texts, chose them, selected them, and then I actually translated them or interpreted them into English, okay? This is Anna Vidal, this is me, and this is the beginning of the texts, okay? I'm not going to go through the whole book because you can see it online, but I'll show you a few pages. It's all to do with being inspired about where I live, because behind our house in Portugal is the Serra de Sintra, and it's an absolutely beautiful World Heritage Site with amazing views of the ocean and the coastline. I would go with my dog every day, and so it became like an addiction. She loved to go, I loved to go, and every day with the weather permitting, we would go and I would sketch and she would be patient and watch me, and that was how it went. And we began to look upon this as an indispensable daily excursion. And it was very easy to slip behind the house with my knapsack full of art materials, so we did that. Out of the roughly 50 to 70 artworks I did, you can see there's some here. And I also made books. I started with books, and then I moved on to doing actual sheets because it was easier to then photograph them. There's a book up there as well, which is an ongoing book. At the moment, I'm still doing it actually, even though I've made the book. I still go up there behind the house, and now I'm doing line drawings, and I add water. It was really a pleasure to meet Anna, which made the book far more interesting because it connects me to the country I live in. And although my Portuguese is adequate, it's not 100%. So she and a friend of mine who had introduced us more or less agreed that my interpretation was okay. So it was really an exciting thing to happen to me and totally unknown. I had once made a book before 9 years ago, but this was a bit more of a challenge, and I'm really pleased that I went through with it. The other thing to say is that, of course, I was inspired by lockdown to do this. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. And although we are in lockdown and we have a sense of isolation in our homes, this was a real great release for me to go with the dog and just kind of immerse myself in sort of what is almost meditative. When you paint and sketch, you're in another world. So it was actually a treasure for me, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and I still enjoy it. So you can buy my book on the Blurb site, or you can get in touch with me directly. I can sell them. There are hardcovers and soft covers. Okay? Well, thank you very much for listening.